The voice made me so sad. Oh, so sad. All right. Um. Okay. I'm not wearing makeup. Oh my God. I don't wear makeup. I had on some eyelashes and it made me look like I was wearing makeup. But it's me. All my marks and dents and bruises from my glasses. I made a video. I made two shorts earlier, and it was about Byron Donald saying that people should be shot first, or they should have access to their guns, um, shoot people, and then have a psychological evaluation to see if they should keep their guns. So um, it got some responses, and someone wrote me back and said something about what did he say that was wrong or that was incorrect. I don't know who it was. It's on the thing. And so I told him, what was incorrect. And that made me think of something else. I explained to him that the United States Constitution, which I'll just briefly explain here, doesn't say anything about you have the right to carry an AR-50 around town in your possession. Um, it does not say you can carry weapons of mass destruction. This is just Republicans and some Democrats reading into what the Constitution says. So, on the first one, the guy is asking me what was wrong about what this fool said. This is Jake Tapper interviewing Republican Donalds, Ryan Donalds. Listen to what he says. It's Byron. Control.
This protection orders take away your property, and then you have to go to court to get your property back. That is a fundamental taking under the United States Constitution. That's why I believe that the actual taking of property is unconstitutional, but that's something where even conservatives disagree. That's no disrespect to Grady Judge. That's my position, and that's my way of looking at the U.S. Constitution and the property of people who are citizens in our country, who until a tragedy occurs, they actually have not run afoul of the law. And so you have to adjudicate the mental health stuff first before you can go and take property. What about?
Okay. This is insanity. So that was the first one. And then the second one, I followed up because I wanted to get Jake Tapper's
you have to adjudicate the mental health stuff first
response
before you can go and take property. That's my point. That's my statement. I understand your point, but what about the constitutional rights of those 3 9-year-olds at Covenant School in Nashville, or the 3 faculty and staff member rights of an individual? And I understand your concern about the Second Amendment rights of an individual, but don't those rights matter less than the individual right to live and not be gunned down in their school?
Nope.
Well, actually, Jake, I think you're conflating. Life, living, and pursuit of happiness is in the Declaration of Independence, not the United States Constitution. We all want to protect life at all times.
It's not.
But that doesn't mean you get to abridge rights of American citizens. You don't get to do that. Well, actually, Jake, I think you're conflating.
Okay, so I wanted to play that again. The reason it's jumping is because I'm moving the my cursor at the bottom. It's not chopped up. I don't know how to edit and do all that. But at the bottom here, where the red line is, as it's playing, I'm moving the cursor and then clicking that spot because it's only a minute long. This is. All right, so I recorded these 2 this morning. And what the hell is downloading? I didn't want that. His name who wrote me is in here. I don't usually put people's names in my video. Go to the channel, you can see who wrote me. So anyway, the point is, as I was responding to the first video, and the person who wrote me asked me, what did Byron Donald say that was incorrect to the first video? And I don't think they had the benefit of listening to the second video. But in my response, which was long, because I try to explain things to explain why I'm saying the things I'm saying. That's the main part. And then I explain it because I don't think a lot of people know or realize what I'm saying. So I try to give them the context behind what I'm saying. Okay. Nowhere does the United States, and for me, I'm 55, and I did not think that people didn't know this. You know, nobody's going to go and read the Constitution. It's a whole long thing. But the amendments and the first part of the Constitution, you can pull it up on Google and print it out. They're very short, 1 line, 2 line, 3 line sentences. It's not, the United States Constitution is not a long document. It is the amendments and all the other stuff that was added on. But the main part that the Democrats and Republicans keep citing, those amendments are not that long. It goes from based on what the original 4 pages said. The year, September, the date, September 17th, 1787. 1787, not 1887. I think that's around when we had the wars and stuff to free us. But for 100 years, even before the first Civil War, this has been going on. They said, okay, let us become colonized. Let us become a union. And that document there, 4-page document, is how we are a republic, because there were just colonies at first. There was no government established. They were defecting from their own countries. Now, who is they? People who were sent, like Christopher Columbus. Christopher Columbus was commissioned by the Spanish king and queen. Don't ask me their name, I forget. To find land so that they could colonize. Everybody was colonizing land. Only thing, this land was already colonized. It was called Turtle Island. And so once Christopher Columbus came and left, other explorers came on their ships. And so United States name changed. Stuff that I read, it's in books. But if you don't like reading, if you don't have a reason to read it, why would you read it? Why would you be interested in it? It's important when people are asking for reparations, because the governments and the name of North America, before it was North and South America, when the English took it over and the Dutchess took it over, and then it changed hands again. So I think the Dutch took it over first, and then it could, because whoever had the biggest gun won. And so you got to name North America what you wanted to name it. You got to have the government that you wanted to have. And most governments were based off of whatever your religious belief was. That is something else that Americans don't understand. Whatever your religious belief was, that's what controlled the government. Okay? So at some point, the United States, 1787, decided to become a union. One union, instead of this state here, this territory here, this wherever here. And they fought for that. But what they did was they came up with an agreement. The agreement was the United States Constitution. There was slavery other places. The United States is not the only one who did slavery, but the United States is the only one out of all of those other people that were colonizing and making colonies, because they didn't want to live under the king and the queen and a monarchy and whatever. What they did was they freed the enslaved people, because they said, okay, we really want them for labor. We don't need to enslave them and take away their rights, because what was happening was, again, if you knew the territory, fine. But if you were a colonizer, your best bet was to make friends with who? The locals, the people who was there. Why? They knew the land. It's just as simple as that. It is this not rocket science. I promise you, it is not rocket science. It's just a matter of today's America today does not want to. You look at all this stuff that's written and you say, oh my gosh, why? Where do I start? There's so much. There's so much. So I'm just simplifying it. I'm going to cut this video. because now it's 21 minutes. I'm simplifying it to explain so that everyday American people, and please take the video and pass it along to your white and your Hispanics and your Asian American Pacific Islanders, so that they understand why someone like me is saying you owe me my reparations. Because when you some of the people were stolen, but we know the Nigerians were sold. Some Africans were sold, stolen. So I literally have titles. Not everybody that's a Nigerian in America, but the original people who were here that were stolen and brought here. We were kings and queens. Now we weren't kings and queens in America, but what you have taken from us was our language. Do you know there's Nigerians that think that they speak the original language? They don't. They don't. In every single solitary colony and state in the old days, only people who could learn the full language were clergy, kings, queens. They knew the full language. That ice belt or that sheet that's breaking off and floating in the ocean. That's why they say there's going to be a flood, because where is the water going to go? The water has to come inland. That's a different subject. But they have been burrowing down and digging into that ice. I don't know if they're looking for aliens or if they're looking for, what is it? I read that they were looking for new species of who was here before us. You got better things to do with your money, Putin. Somebody needs to take Putin, pull down his big old boxers and drawers and spank his ass. That's what Putin needs. He ain't as tough as people think. And it's a lot of bluff with our government working with Vladimir Putin. This is why Donald Trump was able to work with Vladimir Putin, because he just wanted money. But nobody should be working with Donald Trump or Vladimir Putin or Joe Biden. But we kind of stuck with him because we wanted to get rid of. The one thing about Joe Biden, we know we're still going to be American. We hope and know that he's not going to sell out the country. Because once you sell out the country, the skin doesn't matter. All that matters is to the responsivists, because that's the group of what Donald Trump and what's his name? Joe Biden and the people that are in power, they're responsivist, not responsible, responsivist. People who are in the upper stages of life, upper echelon of life. They have money, they have property, they have titles, they have whatever, right? The Clintons, the Bushes, the this, the that. Those people, they consider valuable to society. Scientists, doctors, all of these people are called responsivist. So if you are a responsivist, right, trying to get to that 1%, 2%, their mindset is like Margaret Taylor Greene's. The rest of the population is expendable. Damn the Constitution. To them, the Constitution is just 4 pages written by the forefathers. And we can manipulate it and change it to way. Even the Pelosi's, the Schumers. Don't think I'm just talking about Republicans, because I'm not. And so I applaud Pelosi, because she at least, even though she was taking her own share of money, I'm not mad at her, because men been doing it and governments before her been doing it. So why, when we get to Nancy Pelosi, does it have to stop? She's not gonna stop doing it either, and she didn't until somebody cracked her husband in the fucking head. She's still doing it, but she's just not the figurehead anymore. See, all these people are just figureheads, because they have got Americans to say, I'm a Democrat, I'm a Republican. I'm only me personally associating with being Democrat because it is the lesser of the two evils. I don't want to vote for evil at all, but evil is what runs our government, because you and people like me from the past, we kept voting Democrat, Republican, Democrat, Republican. Why? Because of the issues. Well, what issue? The issue that they said. See, these issues are not our issues. We don't really care who has an abortion. MAGA doesn't care who has an abortion. MAGA doesn't care about who cross-dresses. People have been cross-dressing and having abortions for forever. But if you want to go all the way back, and this is why I keep telling you, there's going to be a war. If you want to go, because when they say you're not a person anymore, who is they? The people in power of the government, which is white people. Doesn't matter how many people you think have gotten in. The government is controlled by white people, Jewish people, rich people, not the Jewish regular small guy. I explained that in my other video. There's a difference between a Jewish person and the 1% and the rest of the Jewish people that's down here with us on the struggle bus of life. Hispanics, Puerto Ricans, or Americans, even though they have their own islands and that's and they don't. But Guam and Hawaii. So those are our territories, is what I'm saying. And Washington D.C. is a district, and then everything else is a state. So, but who controls it? And even the American AAPI, Asian American Pacific Islanders, even though they're starting to say, "Hey, wait a minute," they've been sitting back forever, letting us get fucked up. Well, 1968 is when I became and had the same rights as white people. I became a citizen of the United States. I was born in 1967. I became a person with what? Liberties, rights, the right to pursue happiness. It did not take effect then. That's just when they codified it in law. Please go look it up. So it's not been 400 years, white, black, Hispanic, foreigners, whomever, black people, especially, because we aren't taught this. It's not been 400 years. They've been doing this for 400 years, but no other country said that black people were not human. Black people were not human. We had animal in us. That's what the government said. White people ain't nobody but black people that don't have pigmentation. Because we all came from Lucy. Lucy, oldest living African woman, gave birth to 2 daughters. One stayed in Africa, one went to Europe. I don't know what it was called back then, but modern day Europe is where the other one went. And so all of her offspring is where you get white people from. All of Lucy's other daughter that stayed with her is where you get black people from. It doesn't matter what race. I'm talking about the pigmentation. So the one that went to Europe lost the pigmentation. All of y'all stem from her. Well, her mother looks like me. And so it's not a matter of do you believe it or not. I'm not a scientist, but I watch this stuff all the time. And that's where it comes from. It was big territory that created race. Before race was whatever your last name was. That's from the Bible. But then things changed and they said, well, hey, wait a minute. We want to have and we don't want them to have. So you see, that's how all of this came about. If you get rid of race, you still have the same problem because it was a group of people who said, we need somebody to work for us because they were too lazy to do it for themselves. That's all that was. That's all this is from the beginning of time till now. Even African people in Africa, it's the exact same thing. That's why they talk about apartheid, how they treat some of the Africans, but regardless of, look at Trevor Noah. People know him. His father is European and his mother is African. He shows his mother often, a lot of times. I think I only saw one picture of his mother, but he grew up in apartheid. So a white woman went and impregnated when she was, pretty in the face and small in the waist, went and impregnated his mother and anybody else. Why do they put a person up? Because to me, Joe Biden is put up. Oh, I decided to run because the lady in Kentucky got ran over. Lady in Georgia was ran over. And then I said, it's enough. No, they needed somebody else in there. Because see, Barack Obama was a token. So they weren't going to show him too much while he was in office. So, and he was willfully ignorant. President Barack Obama. I don't blame him, because some people just wanted to see a black person, blackish, in office at the highest position as president with a black wife and black daughters. Some black people just wanted to see it. I'm not one of them, but some people just wanted to see it before they died, because they knew they weren't going to live long enough again to see another 4 years. So I'm happy for those people that got to see it. I'm glad it wasn't taken away from them. It was symbolism, his presidency. But it's okay. It's all right. Because it's for him, for President Barack Obama to know the in and outs of what this government is doing, he wouldn't be alive today. Or either he has to be quiet about it. So I don't expect him to give up his life. The rest for the stealing and robbing from us. But that's why we need one-time payment reparation for those of us who were already here, not black people who migrated here. And we need money for the people, for everybody else. $1,776 a week. And don't say it can't be done, because I promise you it can't be done. We have so much money. You know how you say millions, billions, trillions, and then the next one and the next one and the next one. And we're on the 7th one, and I don't know how to say it. Quadrillion, Sicilian. That's how much money we have. They say, oh, we're in debt, we're in debt. They're talking about the budget is what they're talking about, that they set on the taxes that they're collecting from us, and how they're going to spend it in the budget. That's not all the taxes. They have taxes that they collect for the budget, and then there's the rest of the taxes that the government is collecting from us that is in reserves. So that's why we don't ever worry about running out of money. But they didn't want any Americans to think that, there's an open wallet. So white people, please stop thinking that your taxes are going to go up if we are paid reparations. What made you think that? Your taxes are not going to go up because of reparations. Your taxes will go down if they pay reparations, because we'll have our money. And I know damn well the majority of Black Americans are going to invest, buy homes, plural, businesses, plural. That's how you collect taxes. Money makes money. What you people thinking are short-sighted might be thinking is, well, you had the same opportunity that we had, but we did not. And this is why you don't see Black-owned businesses at the same level that you see Hispanic, Asian, Pacific Islanders, and white people. Y'all don't have businesses because y'all so smart. Y'all have businesses because the government made rules and laws and statutes that said you could do business, you could do commerce. Black people cannot. Then as time went on, if you didn't make a name for yourself, say in the 1900s, 1920s, or in 1930s and 1940s, I'll say, let's just say 1950s. If by 1950 you and your ancestors hadn't made a name for yourself, what was available to you was other liberties that Black people did not have the same liberties. And so that's why we're behind everybody else. So eventually some got into sports and they became rich, and it's, music, and they made money rich from music. But you don't see us in any big numbers with building up buildings and having, machineries and stuff, and just the entrepreneurial spirit that is America. We never got to engage in that on any real level. I'm not talking about the 1 or 2 0.0005% of Black people that have managed to have that type of company. That's not entertainment. That's really just a viable business doing business in America, or international business. You don't see a lot of Black-owned companies because we were not allowed to do it. And so giving us reparations puts us in that field. It's better to do that because we aren't going to sell our country out. And this is why you say, oh, it's a leak. It's a leak. Joe Biden, ain't no leak. What leak? Joe Biden and them put that out there about the government documents so that y'all can stop talking about the fact that he's in war in Afghanistan right now. Did y'all know that? What? I gotta go. What war? We are at war with Afghanistan right now. Y'all have a nice day. It's you pay to watch the damn news sometimes.